Hello and welcome to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Nina Adio, a social media marketing expert specific to the wedding industry. On this show, I discuss tips to help you DIY your social media, as well as getting the confidence and income to outsource it. Thank you for allowing this episode to come through on your Bluetooth, your car radio, wherever it may be you're listening from today. Now, let's take your wedding business to the next level. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast. It is episode 101, but despite being here 101 times, everything's the same. Traffic comes as soon as I hit record. We're in the middle of the heat wave, so the air is on, and this is just how we roll. We're offering real life tips, real life marketing for real life wedding industry professionals. If you missed last week's episode, it was about the new vendor in town, wedding content creators. What do they do? Is this something that you could do? And my advice to those who do it. So you'll want to check that out over at episode 100. But today what we are talking about is FOMO marketing. FOMO, it's just like the FOMO you have in real life. It's fear of missing out. How does this style of marketing work for wedding pros? If it does, I'm going to give you my takes on it. I went over onto my Instagram to record this episode live. This way, if you guys had any questions, you could ask them as I was recording. So let's get to that audio right now. Today, what I wanted to talk about is FOMO marketing, which is the same FOMO you hear about day to day. Fear of missing out. Is this a marketing strategy we need? Is this a marketing strategy maybe we're already using and we don't know it? Do you have questions about it? We're going to talk about it all here today. First off, what is FOMO marketing? As I said, it is fear of missing out marketing. And it is to create a sense of urgency with customers. It's to create excitement with customers. And the intention is to encourage them to book now, to tour your venue now, to schedule a consultation now, whatever your end result is. FOMO marketing is used to create that. How can we use this in our wedding businesses? And maybe are we already using this in our wedding business? Some things that I have found working. And one of the first, elements or pillars of FOMO marketing is a limited time offer. Now, in the wedding industry, where so much of the service is based on your time and your craft, we don't typically do or promote even doing limited time offers where you're slashing prices in half or anything like that. But what I've done with clients instead is we will let people know an open date. We can really pick them at random. We can look at the calendar and go, look, we see that we have Fridays in March available. Let's pick 2 or 3 of those dates. Let's do an Instagram post or story highlight that this date is available. And that leads to the next pillar of FOMO marketing, which is that it's limited quantity. As a wedding professional, you already have one of the major elements of FOMO, which is that you can only do so many weddings in a day, right? So you don't need to have where product-based marketing may be really aggressively saying only 5 left, only 10 left. For you guys, it's just something that can be integrated already into what we're doing. The fact that we do 1 wedding at a time or 1 wedding a weekend, whatever that is. Maybe you're a more high-end planner and you do 1 wedding a month, that is part of your FOMO marketing or your marketing in general, to let people know and encourage them to meet with you because they know your availability is scarce. So to recap on that a bit, what I will do is we'll post out some available dates. And what that does is it entices somebody who sees that to go, I better get in touch because other people are seeing that. And they may want to go for my date or my month, etc. And in regards to limited quantity, that's something you can be working into your marketing all the time, because your quantity is always going to be limited because you can only do so many weddings a day. Even if you are a photography business that has several photographers under you, there are still only so many weddings that you can do a day. And that's going to bring in that marketing and that urgency, as we're saying, with the limited quantity. Now, another one of the pillars of FOMO marketing is social proof. So the first thing we're going to think of with that is, of course, testimonials. And testimonials are really great because what they do is they also show, specifically in the wedding industry, the camaraderie that gets created between, or this seemingliness, right? Maybe this isn't necessarily true, but it creates this idea that the wedding vendor and the bride or groom had this really great experience together and that they really got along. And the more posts you showing those relationships you have, the more it lends to that fear of missing out marketing and strategy, where people go, wow, I want to feel that way with her. I want to feel that way with them. I also feel this way when it comes to posting the reshares on Instagram or posting story highlights that tag the other vendors and tag the other people. It shows the community and it further encourages people to want to be a part of that. Another pillar of FOMO marketing is event-based, okay? So the first thing we're going to think of with that is showcases. Are you offering something at a showcase? Do those Instagram stories, tag where you're at, tag the brides you're meeting, let it be an experience. Whether this is a showcase that's at a venue, maybe it's more of like a larger trade show type of showcase, or maybe it's something that you're doing on your own. Maybe when you meet with couples, you have that kind of social media wall, or I just booked with so-and-so. That is creating an experience, and couples may want that rite of passage where they go, well, I want to go to that venue and I want to be holding this just booked with so-and-so sign, because that's part of the experience. We have a question of what's a good way to share your great reviews. Thank you so much. What I love to do is to take a vertical footage of, whether it's at the venue, at a wedding, it could even be a stock video from a wedding. And I will put a screenshot of the review over it, or I will take the review, if it's not large enough, and paste it into, either you could do it on your notes app, you could do it on Canva and make it pretty with your branding, but getting to leverage the Reels structure. You can then repost it to TikTok, Pinterest, anywhere else that the vertical video is good for. You could share it in your highlights, and you get to take advantage of adding the audio too. So I really like to do that. I also like to be checking to see if their reviews for the couples shared their photos too. Very often they'll leave a Google review or a review on the Knot, and they can now leave photos. So I will do posts that have their photos and their review just as the caption after it to kind of change it up. But then you could repurpose that and do it again, doing the vertical video. And as long as you space it out, it doesn't become too redundant or overbearing, because not everybody sees it the first time anyway. It's very likely that somebody who is responding to the imagery of the couple is not responding the same way to the one that's the real. And that's why I feel that I can mix and match with sharing those reviews. So thank you for triggering me to think, let me give some examples of what these posts can actually look like. So maybe at the end, I'll do some more examples of those. Another pillar of FOMO marketing is exclusive access. Now, this is always a tricky spot with vendors when it comes to being on vendor lists. There are some venues that require payment for being on lists and so forth. A way you can leverage FOMO marketing when you were on different vendor lists, whether it's with venues or just other peers of yours, is offering something exclusive. Exclusive access is a part of this FOMO marketing. So what can you offer people who are booked at the Bourne Mansion that nobody else is going to get? That's the idea, and that's the pitch, and that's how you lean into the venues. I've had florists who worked at venues where if they were part of the venue's list, they would offer all couples a floral arrangement included that would be for their escort card table, or would be for the bars, or wherever the couple wanted to put it. So that would be an example of how you could integrate that exclusive access. To post about it, a great idea of something you could do is to do a collaborator post. I would try to incorporate at least one a month where you do a collaborator post of the people who you either have on your vendor list or you're on the vendor list for. So if you're on the vendor list for a venue, do posts of your work at that venue, invite them to be a collaborator on it, because now it's going to your audience and to theirs, and let them know that you have exclusive offers specifically for their couples. Now, another pillar of FOMO marketing that I don't necessarily feel we need as much in the wedding industry, let me know what you guys think and if you agree or disagree, but it is countdowns. So typically, let's say if I were to be launching a course, the doors would be open for, let's say, 4 weeks, and then they would close. So I would have a countdown to that event. For weddings, because we're already dealing with limited quantity, the countdown is not something I necessarily feel that we need as much unless we have something where it's like there's so many days to an event. I would much rather you leverage into the limited time offer of these dates are open until they book, and that's it. Like when I'm booked that date, it's done. And showing some open dates, I think it's really important to put out what are your most popular dates. Every Labor Day, every Memorial Day, I like to remind my clients' audience that these are the most popular wedding weekends. And if you're looking to be a holiday weekend couple or have a holiday weekend event of any kind, right, whether it's 4th of July, Labor Day, Memorial Day, I encourage them to get in touch right away. So that's how you're kind of doing the limited time offer, the limited quantity, and the countdown, because you're saying these don't stay open. So let's act fast. Let's get this booked. So a post that I would consider doing is just testing it around. Look, if you have a whole book of open dates, nobody needs to know that, or nobody needs to know how many dates they actually are, especially if you're not comfortable with that. So just pick a few that you know historically maybe you don't book. Maybe you don't book April 1st, April Fool's Day, or maybe you know that Fridays in March are going to be tough. Take some of those dates and put out a post saying, I have this date available, this date's still available. And what it does is it reminds people that you do get booked. People are filling your dates. People are booking you, and that these dates, because they're available today, they may not be tomorrow. Those are my tips and my rundown of FOMO marketing, a fear of missing out. And it's, when I first heard the term FOMO put with marketing, I didn't like it because I hate the feeling of FOMO, right? I mean, who else is with me? I hate that feeling, but it is something we are already doing. Why? Because it's creating buzz around your business. So we may not be calling it FOMO marketing, but it is something that we use and leverage as a wedding professional or as somebody who is marketing what we have. Short, sweet, but oh so informative, right, guys? So, if you enjoyed that, there is plenty more where that came from. Let me tell you, I am getting into my busy season because right now everybody is gearing up for engagement season. So, if you want to get on my calendar with an Instagram audit strategy call, or if you've been thinking about full service social media management, now is the time because I am nearing capacity. So you can go over to idoweddingmarketing.com for information on all of those things. Available all the time is the Engage to Engagement workshop, where I teach you my organic engagement strategy, and the ChatGPT for wedding marketing video course. So those as well can be found at idoweddingmarketing.com. Thank you so much for listening, guys, and I will be back next week with another episode of the I Do Wedding Marketing Podcast.